Hey, what's going on, freight dispatchers and aspiring freight dispatchers? In today's live, I'm going to be talking about the exact process of making $10,000 per month in your freight dispatching business. I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide, a proven blueprint to start making $10,000 per month very quickly in your freight dispatching business. So the thing about freight dispatching isn't only about booking loads. You need a consistent system that continues to bring in owner operators. This is something that I found out the hard way when I started my business, and I want to give you a proven system to consistently sign up truck drivers for your freight dispatching business from the beginning. Because basically, if you come into freight dispatching without a proven system to sign up truck drivers, it's going to create a problem for your business. You're going to struggle to attract and sign up drivers, which will have you working overtime to sign up drivers, sometimes with no results. So it's all about marketing and sales. Signing up an increasing amount of truck drivers for your freight dispatch business is key. Nothing else is more important, because by signing up an increasing amount of truck drivers for your freight dispatching business, it's going to allow you to grow and build out your company. By the amount of owner operators that you're dispatching for is going to determine what your company grows into, right? A lot of people come into freight dispatching wanting to make passive income. But in order to make passive income, you have to sign up a good amount of drivers. You basically have to work yourself out of a job. You don't want to be stuck in the dispatcher role forever, because you're not going to be able to scale to $10,000, $20,000 per month and more, because you're not going to be able to do the marketing work that you need to. So if you want to make $10,000 plus per month in freight dispatching, you need to think about signing up drivers more than anything, because you're going to have enough drivers within your freight dispatching business to make that amount of money. So when I first started my business, finding drivers was the hardest thing for me to do. It was the biggest struggle, the biggest pain point for me to get over. But over the years, I figured out the best way to sign up truck drivers to my freight dispatching company. I already went through basically every pain point that you can go through in a freight dispatch business. I've already went have to struggle like I did. So as you may know already, during my first month of freight dispatching, I didn't sign up any truck drivers, right? After about 30 days without being able to sign up any truck drivers, I was about ready to give up and continue working a job, start applying for jobs, right? But I knew I had to change up something. And what I found out that freight dispatching is more about marketing than anything else, right? So I feel the general information will not lead you to having a successful freight dispatch business. If we were able just to listen to general information about freight dispatching, and if that created successful freight dispatching businesses, everyone will have a successful freight dispatch business. And it's usually the things that you don't hear talked about is what you need to know to be able to become successful. For example, lead generation. Most people who don't know, coming into freight dispatching, it's more about lead generation than anything. You have to draw in the leads, which are owner operators, and then you need to convert those leads into your customer. And that's all going to depend on the value that you're giving out. So when I first started, I was like so many other aspiring freight dispatchers. Is what I did everywhere I marketed, I was creating posts for people to sign up for my company. You know, that's all I was doing. And the thing about owner operators, they want a dispatcher that they can know, like, and trust. Owner operators spent a lot of money for their truck, trailer, and other equipment, including insurance and everything it takes to get a trucking business started. So owner operators don't want just any old person dispatching for their truck. You have to get owner operators to know, like, and trust you before they sign up for your dispatching company. And the only dispatchers that would continue to sign up an increasing amount of owner operators are the dispatchers that give out value for free. So during my second month of freight dispatching, I had to learn more about the trucking industry. As a dispatcher, what you want to do for your owner operators, because they're owners of the trucking business and operators, and that comes with a large responsibility. Just having to drive the truck for 10 hours a day and all that comes with that. If they're driving a flatbed truck, having to strap and tarp down their loads, that's a lot of work. And then your potential customers or owner operators, they're out on the highway and they still have to handle the owner part, as in thinking of different ideas of how to increase their profit at all times, right? So when I started dispatching, I noticed a lot of my potential customers weren't coming up with ideas of how to always increase their revenue. And then so then what I did is I started to think of ideas of how to increase revenue, and then I gave that value out for free, and that got owner operators interested in my business. So unless you can give some value up front for free, owner operators aren't going to want to sign up with you, because it's like, what am I signing up with this specific dispatcher for? Why am I signing up with this specific dispatcher if I don't see any value in the dispatcher? So your owner operators are going to need to see value in you before they ever sign up with your company. And if you can give that value out for free, you can create a sales system that always attracts truck drivers. So as I said, dispatching more than finding and booking loads, because you'll never have the drivers to find and book loads for you if you don't look at it from a lead generation standpoint. It's about generating leads, generating contact information of drivers, and also you have to have a sales strategy. So before you start your freight dispatching business and you go to market with your services, you should have a proven sales strategy. You should already have a sales strategy wrote down with ideas of how you're going to sign up your customers. You should have a step-by-step plan of how you're going to sign up each truck driver to your business. Because if you don't have a sales strategy, when you start marketing your business, you have nothing to follow, right? You have to already have that sales strategy, and then that's what you're going to follow every day. So during my first month, I didn't sign up any truck drivers. I was about to give up. And during that second month, I just started learning a lot of value to offer to owner operators. And that's the thing. Most people that come into freight dispatching, they're not going to have any value besides, sign up with my company. I only charge 5%. One thing that a lot of people try to do is charge a very low percentage to dispatch a truck. That's not something that you want to do, because if you charge a very low percentage, it's going to decrease the revenue coming into your company, right? Because you're not going to make as much money off of each driver. But instead of decreasing the percentage that you're charging to try to sign up more truck drivers, what you would need to do is increase the value, right? We have two choices in business to attract more customers to us: decrease the price or increase the value. What any successful business does is that business increases the value so they can also increase the price, right? So you need build a strong lead generation system. You need to think of all the marketing ideas, and video marketing is the fastest way to cash flow. Video marketing is the fastest way you're going to make cash in a freight dispatch business, is because owner operators can see you, they can see your get to know your personality, and seeing those things is what's going to make owner operators want to sign up for your company. They need to get to know your personality, how you are as a person, and then they're going to start to know, like, and trust you. They have to trust you. After spending all the money that they have on their truck and trailer, they definitely have to trust you to let you dispatch for their truck. And then to make that $10,000 plus per month, you need of like 5, 6 trucks, right? You're not going to be making that much money by only dispatching 1 or 2 trucks. And one common misconception at freight dispatchers make is they think you're going to make money off of those first 2 or 3 trucks that you sign up. And another misconception is most freight dispatchers coming into this business don't know you're going to have a steady flow of owner operator truck drivers. That's the hardest part. The actual dispatching part is easy, but to get a steady flow of owner operators coming into your business, that's going to be the hardest part. And that's what most people struggle with, right? So to get that steady flow, you need a proven sales system, right? You need an automatic sales system too. To make passive income, you want an automatic sales system, right? You need drivers coming in all the time, and you need this to be automatic. So how I started doing this is I started video marketing, offering value for free, email marketing, and then what I did is I took a look at all the rest of the freight dispatching companies out there, because if you start your business the same as the other companies that you already see, you won't attract any customers, right? Any business that you start, a business starts because they have a different idea. They're offering different value than the market isn't already offering. So if you want to get customers or drivers for your freight dispatching business quickly, what you would need to do is offer higher value than the market, right? So you need to think about your customers' pain points. What do owner operators struggle with? Something owner operators struggle with is increasing their revenue. And every single business has to be increasing revenue at all times. So what I would recommend for new dispatchers first coming into the game to do, you want to track the revenue of your owner operator truck drivers, and you want to make sure that revenue is always increasing. You want to be able to see that revenue increase 10-20% every quarter, right? From Q1 to Q2, you want that revenue to increase, right? And if you don't get that revenue to increase, the trucking business will fail, right? One thing, you need to know your owner operators' pain points more than they know their pain points, right? So one major pain point in trucking, and this causes so many trucking businesses to fail, because basically you want to know what causes trucking businesses to fail, so we can avoid those issues, so we can avoid those causes, right? And it is ways to avoid these causes. So many trucking businesses fail because of maintenance issues. Because we have to think about it. The truck is racking up on more miles, week by week from hauling loads, racking up on more miles as the trucking business gets older, and as the truck gets older, it's putting more miles on the truck, right? And then what happens with that is you have more increased amount of maintenance issues. And then as the truck gets older and more miles get put on the truck, the cost of the maintenance issues will increase. It's bound to happen in any trucking business, because as that truck gets that wear and tear on it, it's going to become more costly, right? So you want to have ideas like this in mind as a freight dispatcher, because that trucking business's revenue is always going to need to be increasing, even to cover the price of maintenance costs, right? So when I first started dispatching, I seen so many trucking businesses going out of business because they had a maintenance issue, and then they didn't have the money to cover that maintenance issue. So what I started to do is I started to advise owner operators to start putting back at least 5% of their revenue in a maintenance account, right? So now, since we know we're putting back 5% of the total revenue into the maintenance account, that maintenance account is growing. The amount of money in that maintenance account is growing. And then the thing is, what you'll see as a freight dispatcher, if the owner operators aren't doing this, their trucking business is going to fail, and that's going to take a customer away from you too also. So you want to think of all type of ideas that your owner operators aren't thinking about, and then by giving this value to them for free, That's going to cause them to reach out to you. That's going to cause them to send their contact information to you. And so basically you acquire a lead by the information that you put out. So then you want to think as many ways and the best ideas to put out that value, such as video marketing, email marketing. You want to go in Facebook trucking groups and just be able to give value to owner operators. You want, as a freight dispatcher, you want to take over a lot of that role on the owner side, right? Because you can't do the operator side that's actually driving the truck, but it's so many things you can do on that owner side, right? So many trucking businesses fail because they're not putting back enough money for maintenance, especially new trucking companies. You want to have them start putting back at least 5% for maintenance from day one. So that way the owner operator never misses that 5%. And then that 5% going in the maintenance account is always growing, right? And in any business, you want to have multiple different funds or multiple different bank accounts, right? And honestly, I believe there's so many owner operators in the trucking industry that they don't have these multiple different bank accounts. What you want is you want your main bank account, that's your revenue account. You want all the revenue coming into that revenue account, and then you want to automatically send certain percentages of money to other accounts, such as the maintenance account, the fuel account, the tax account, the owner operator pay account. The growth account is very important because the growth account, you're going to be sending money back for growth, right? Because the trucking business has to be growing, right? You want to, if the owner operator just has one truck, what you want to do as a dispatcher is to be able to increase their revenue with that one truck. And that's going to be more money going towards their growth account and all the rest of the accounts too, because we're going off percentages, right? So you want to put about, let's say 10% towards the growth account. Now money is stacking up in the growth account. So when the owner operator wants to buy a new truck or put down a down payment for a new truck, they just go to their pre-existing growth account that the money in there is growing over time, right? And that's the thing too, why so many trucking businesses fail, I believe, because the owner operator isn't increasing revenue at all times. And then they're having more and more frequent maintenance issues as the truck collects more wear and tear and you put more miles on the truck, right? And then the owner operator themselves aren't as excited when they first came into the business. So their energy is coming down. They don't want to drive as much, right? Any business, you're going to get worn out. If you're doing a day-to-day activity in the business forever, I would say as an owner operator, you don't want to come into the trucking industry and just drive your truck. And then 10 years later, you're still driving your truck, because that's not growing the business, right? And then I believe if you do that, after doing that for years and years, your energy is going to come down and you're not going to be excited and you don't want to drive the truck like when you first started. But at the same time, your truck is breaking down more, right? So in business, you got to come into business like with a plan to always increase revenue and a plan to grow your business. Like, what are you going to do with the increased revenue, right? So basically, if you don't have this mindset for your owner operators as a dispatcher, you're not going to have a lot of owner operators signing up with you, right? So what I first realized when I started dispatching is that I had to have more value in a way. I had to know more about running a trucking business than the actual owner operator. And the only thing it takes is a little research. I started to read a lot of business books. And then what you want to think about, what makes trucking businesses fail. Why do trucking businesses fail? And then as a dispatcher, you want to give your owner operators all the value and information to steer them clear from failure, right? And then you want to be able to tell them straight up, this is why I see so many trucking businesses fail. I see so many trucking businesses fail from maintenance issues, right? Myself, after dispatching a couple of trucks, I started to see like trucking companies fail due to maintenance issues. And the thing is about any business, trucking is the same. It's not like trucking businesses are failing due to different reasons. It's probably only a handful of reasons trucking businesses fail, and all the trucking businesses that fail are basically just doing the same thing and everyone else is doing to cause failure, right? But really, before you come into a business, before you come into freight dispatching, or before you become an owner operator, you want to already know what makes most people fail, so you can avoid that. So you can put activities in place to avoid that. So you want to build a strong lead generation system by having ideas and value to give to owner operators. Is going to cause you to have a stronger lead generation system. You're going to be able to draw in more leads. And what you want to do is you want to just give value for free, right? You don't want to always be asking for the sale. You don't want to always be saying, sign up for my freight dispatching service. I only charge 5%, right? Because now you look too hungry. You look like you don't have any customers, right? When you always have to ask people to sign up for your company, it looks like you don't have any customers. And this is what so many new freight dispatchers do. And it actually turns potential customers away. But if you can have value, like I was explaining about the maintenance accounts, if you can explain to your owner operator why trucking businesses fail, that alone is going to want to make them sign up with your company. So now you have a strong lead generation system in place. From there, you want to master the sales calls, right? Freight dispatching is a sales game. It's a lead generation and a sales game, because you want to be able to get owner operators on sales calls. So when you start your business, you want to ask yourself, how can I get owner operators on sales calls, right? When you first start, you have a startup, right? Where you're starting up a business. So with this startup, you are going to have to get drivers on sales calls, right? So instead of thinking, and especially in the beginning, instead of thinking so much about dispatching and load boards, which that's a reason freight dispatchers fail, right? Too many aspiring freight dispatchers start their company and they're only thinking about load boards, negotiating, but that's at the bottom of your pipeline after you already signed a driver up. That's actually the easiest part. The dispatching part, of course, it comes with some struggles. And I'm not going to say it's easy every day, but that's easier than general selling. Takes soft skills like communication, right? Communication and skills like that. So, but once you get the marketing and sales down pat, you are going to start getting owner operators on sales calls, because you got to remember, owner operators just aren't going to sign up for your dispatching business out of anywhere. You have to be able to get them on a sales call, and you have to get them interested. You have to be actually saying something, right? So what I started to notice when I first started my freight dispatch business is most freight dispatchers, they don't have any brand messaging, right? They're not saying anything different than the market. And you can still look today, if you do some market research, most of the time you see any freight dispatching company advertise, it's like the same person's advertising, because the same thing is being said, right? So if trucking companies fail so much due to maintenance issues, you should definitely hear freight dispatchers speaking about trucking companies fail due to maintenance issues and how to avoid this. And how to avoid this will be putting back 5% of all revenue in a maintenance account. So that money's just already there. So you got to get way deeper than the average freight dispatcher. If you are saying everything that the market is saying, you're not going to stand out in a crowded market. It's a very freight dispatching, or any business they're very crowded markets of people saying the same thing. Any business that you look to start, most people are not going to be successful, because most people aren't going to have the deeper information of how to be successful. So we want to get owner operator truck drivers on sales calls. And to sign up an increasing amount of owner operators, you have to have an increasing amount of owner operators getting on sales calls. So what I teach, the very first thing I teach in my boot camp, my freight dispatcher boot camp, is how to get owner operators on sales calls, how to build a automatic system that signs up drivers to your freight dispatching business. So if you are saying the same thing as the rest of the market, if you don't have anything special to say, no owner operators are going to have interest in your brand. They're not going to want to get on a sales call or even talk to you if you're not saying something that's interesting. But by thinking of ideas of value to offer to your owner operators, you're going to get more on sales calls, right? And if you do video marketing, email marketing, you can actually make this automatic. So to hit that $10,000 per month, you're going to need to get on a certain amount of sales calls, and to increase your revenue at all times. It's two ways a freight dispatcher can increase their revenue. One is by dispatching more owner operators, and the other is by booking higher paying loads for the owner operators that you're dispatching. So as a freight dispatcher, two of your main concerns needs to be always signing up more owner operators, and also always being able to book higher paying loads for those owner operators. So a big reason freight dispatching companies fail is because so many freight dispatchers are excited in the beginning and they have a lot of energy to put into their company, and you might sign up, let's say 3 drivers, right? But so many freight dispatchers get busy dispatching and working with those 3 drivers that they forget the top of their pipeline. They forget to continue to draw in more leads. And then like the same thing happened to me. Like I said, I already went through all of these pain points. So that's why I have the solutions. But for me, I got up to about 6 drivers, and that got me so busy dispatching those 6 drivers. And then I lost 1, maybe a week later or a few days later, I lost 2. And then maybe another one. So the point is, I went from dispatching 6 trucks to quickly only dispatching 3 trucks, right? And that affected my revenue. It cut my revenue in half because I'm dispatching half of the truck drivers. And that's when I found out the key to owning a successful freight dispatching business. And the key is to create a lead generation system that automatically signs up truck drivers, and then being able to get passive income, because you need to sign up. You need to purposefully sign up enough truck drivers to work yourself out of the dispatching part. You want to sign up so many truck drivers that you can't dispatch those drivers yourself. And then that's going to create that's a pain point, right? That you have in a freight dispatching business, not being able to, you got so many drivers coming in that you can't dispatch the drivers that you have, right? You want to create that problem in your business, because if you don't create that problem, you won't ever be able to hire on more dispatchers to work for you. And then that's how you're going to get the passive income, right? So if you're just starting your freight dispatch business, you have to know you have to create that problem on purpose. So that's what I mentor a lot of people to start their own freight dispatching business, right? And most of the people that I mentor are new. They're new business owners, right? But what sometimes we don't know as new business owners is we have to create certain problems on purpose within our business. So if you want to be able to own a passive income freight dispatching business, you have to create the problem of having too many trucks. I hear so many new freight dispatchers say, well, I don't want to get too many trucks. Well, first of all, they don't realize that most of the time in the beginning, it's going to be a struggle to sign up trucks for your freight dispatching company. Drivers aren't just going to come running for you. You got to give them some value to attract them to you. That's one thing I had to understand as a new business owner, that I couldn't chase customers down. That's wasting a lot of energy. That's going to be very hard in any business if you have to chase your customers down. But how it's going to be easy is if you're just able to give away higher value, and you're going to attract customers to you by the value that you give out. You're going to attract your own market. You're going to create your own market, right? So that's why it never matters what the trucking market looks like. there will always be owner operators looking for freight dispatchers, and they're going to sign up with the ones that's able to offer higher value, right? Because you're going to attract your customers to you. And I'm also going to leave a link in the chat. What I teach to do in my freight dispatcher bootcamp is we use ChatGPT to create sales scripts, to create, like if you want to know questions, what questions should you ask on a sales call? I'm going to leave a link in the chat right now. You guys can click on that link, and I've already created a prompt and put it in the ChatGPT of the questions that you should ask while you're on a sales call, right? So it's all step by step. If you can't draw the interest of truck drivers, they aren't going to want to get on a sales call with you. And then once you get them on a sales call, you have to know what to say on the sales call to get drivers to sign up with you. So it's a step-by-step process. I'm going to share my screen here. The link is in the chat if you want to click the link, and you will always have all these answers for yourself. But the great thing is these days you can use AI for everything, even to make a freight dispatch agreement, right? So many people come in to freight and they want to know, how do I make a freight dispatching agreement? If I were you, I would not make a freight dispatch agreement in the beginning. I would wait until you get your first driver. The reason why is you actually decrease your sales by having a freight dispatch agreement in the very beginning. Why? Is because so many people come into freight dispatching and they get a generic freight dispatch agreement. They get a freight dispatch agreement that's like every other freight dispatching business in the market. But think about it. Why would you want your company to have the same documents as anyone else in the market, right? And what I would do is I would create like brand messaging for myself. You know, you need to be able to say something different than the rest of the market, and you say that on video in your email marketing, on unique brand messaging, right? So you're standing out from the market. And then in your freight dispatch agreement, you need to have some of that same brand messaging in your freight dispatch agreement. So then when your potential owner operator gets your freight dispatch agreement, you're going to be using some of the exact same wording that you use in your marketing material, right? So you're going to use some of that exact same wording in your freight dispatch agreement, and this is going to help to increase your sales. So we have here pulled up on the screen, I got ChatGPT pulled up, and you see it gives you so many questions about a sales call. So first, you got to qualify the driver. On a sales call, when you get on a call with your potential driver, you want to qualify the driver. You want to ask them, what type of freight do you currently haul? Do you own your truck, or are you leasing on to another company, right? This is very important too, because if they're leasing another company, they already have a percentage of their revenue being paid to the other company, right? So this is going to make the margins tighter for your owner operator, and you as a district, you need to know that, right? And for me, if I'm on a sales call with an owner operator and they do say they're leasing on to another company, that's when you want to say as a dispatcher, well, okay, it's good to know that now, because I know you have a certain percentage of your money being paid to the company that you're leasing on to, and I will always keep that in mind when I'm booking your loads, so I can make sure I try to book you the highest paying loads to so your margins won't be as tight, right? Because you have more expenses coming out if you owned your own truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to always work to increase your revenue, and then hopefully soon you can get your own authority, and we can cut that lease on price out of your budget, right? So now we can keep more money in-house, right? And I say if you don't have these ideas to offer owner operators, they're not going to think you care about their business. But you want to conduct your sales calls like this so they can see that you care and you're really thinking about their business and their situation. Are you currently working with a dispatcher, or have you worked with one before? How long have you been in trucking? Do you have your own MC, or are you leased onto a carrier like the last one? And then, so From there, you want to understand their pain points. What's your biggest challenge right now in finding and booking loads, right? You want to see what is giving them pain right now, because that's the solutions you're going to have for those drivers. So as you can see, dispatching is much deeper and intense than most people think, right? That's why so many people struggle with signing up drivers, because drivers are just going to come to us. And just like me, I didn't realize all the information that I had to have about the trucking industry and about freight dispatching. And then I had to implement my own solutions too, right? Get in the rates you want for the lanes. How much time are you spending each week searching for loads instead of driving? So we want to ask all these questions. Assessing their operations. What is your ideal weekly revenue goal? How many loads are you currently running per week? So you want to start seeing, you got to see where your owner operator is like right now. On the sales call, you need to assess their current operations, see where their business is at right now. And by answering all these questions, you're going to get a feel for what your potential owner operator is really struggling with. And then if you're asking these type questions, you sound more interested, more caring. And like I tell the students in my boot camp, from your marketing to the sales call, you want everything to be better than the market, right? It's no use to starting a business and copying the market. You want to raise the bar on every single thing you do. You want to make everything you do better than any dispatcher the owner operator has ever came across, right? And that's going to help you to increase your amount of driver signups. So this is the harder part. The operations, just learning dispatching. After you dispatch 1 or 2 trucks, you're going to have a good feel for dispatching, right? But sometimes the marketing and sales takes much longer. And I would say any business, the day-to-day operations in any business is the easy part. Actually being able to market your business and get people to sign up for your business is the hard part. We call this creating market demand. So if I were you, I would even look more into that term, creating market demand, because that's a big part that most freight dispatchers miss. You got to create your own demand by giving out the value for free, by giving out better value than what's already there. You're going to create demand for your own business. So that's why it never does any good to complain about not getting drivers, or it never does any good to think about like what the market is and maybe it's too many freight dispatchers out there. It should not matter how many freight dispatchers come into the market. You should always be able to offer higher value than the rest of the market. So creating market demand and signing up drivers is about us. It's about the value we have within ourselves. And then we give that value out. Like I said, my first month, I didn't sign up any drivers, but I took a lot of time studying the trucking industry, studying business, studying marketing and sales. So I studied that, took that value in, and then I was able to give that value out to owner operators, and it attracted the drivers, right? It's like a recycle type relationship. You learn more yourself, you give it out for free. Owner operators are interested in what you're saying, and then they want to get on a sales call with you. And then that's when you just run down these questions. And if you just came into the live, just make sure you click the link, and it'll take you to ChatGPT, where you can have all these questions yourself. So this is a pipeline too. When you're on a sales call, it's a pipeline. First, you qualify the driver, understand the pain points, so you're walking them down a pipeline to get to convert. You want to assess their operations, and by you asking these questions and you showing genuine interest in their business, you're walking them down a pipeline. So now, after you got their pain points and you assess their operations, you position what would your ideal dispatching service look like? You know, if we could take the load searching, negotiation, paperwork off your plate, would that help your business? So you want to ask questions like this as you're positioning yourself as the solution for the pain points that they already talked to you about, right? So now you can close the call. What's holding you back from using a dispatching service right now? You want to say, they might say, well, I use use one, but my old dispatcher, they weren't giving me a lot of value. Sometimes I would be waiting on for them to dispatch a load to me, and I would call them just to check on things, and maybe they didn't answer the phone, right? So after you hear the owner operator say that, that's when you want to say, well, this is what we do in our company, or, you know, our goal is to make sure we're always available. We're available 24/7, and you want to just reassure them that you will always be available. And this is drawing their interest in. How soon are you looking for a dispatcher? So you want to add these questions, and then at the end, you want to close the deal. You want to see if you can send them your freight dispatching agreement, and then they'll send it back to you, signed. And now they're officially, you've converted a lead to driver, right? And this is the same pipeline you walk all your drivers down through. So many freight dispatchers don't have any, it's a struggle to sign up customers because they're all the way in the conversions phase, right? It's you have to first brand awareness. You have to let them know what your brand is, what you do, what makes you different. We call this having a UVP, a unique value proposition. Owner operators have to know what makes you unique before they ever get on a sales call with you. If they don't know what makes you unique, like me, I started to give them information about sitting back at least 5% of their total revenue to their maintenance account. And then I would tell them, like, if you don't do this, your business would definitely fail, because more mouths and more would have the money set back, because you're going to have more maintenance issues. And you as a business owner, you're going to be spending more money on maintenance over time. So when you start being able to give out information like this, and basically as a freight dispatcher, what I had to do, I had to get so good that I know every reason that makes trucking businesses fail. And then I just start being able to talk about that up front. And in any business, if you're able to talk about the reasons why your potential customers would fail, they're going to run to you. You're never going to have a problem, or you're never going to struggle signing up customers for any business. If you show your customers that you have so much information, you already know what would make them fail, and you want to implement all the right ideas to keep them from failure. So that's how I started to sign up a lot of truck drivers for my freight dispatching business. That's how I made $20,000 my second month, and most freight dispatchers do when they come into the market. I wasn't thinking about lead generation. I wasn't thinking about sales strategy. As I explain everything, I'm basically talking about a sales strategy, right? So that's how from zero the first month and $20,000 the second month, because I had that sales strategy. I started giving away information that I didn't see anybody else giving away. That's what you want to do as a freight dispatcher. You want to be able to say things in your marketing that nobody else in the market is saying, right? And if you're saying things, if you're giving away value that nobody else is giving away, you're going to automatically attract drivers. But if you're giving away the same value as everyone else, or no value at all, your company is going to be very stagnant, and your cash flow is going to be very stagnant. So that's why I basically created the Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, because I teach you all this information from day one. From day one, I tell you, I work with you on coming up with a unique value proposition. I work with you on having your own brand messaging, so you don't sound, or your company isn't marketed like anything else in the market. So be sure to click that link in the chat if you want to get the questions that you should ask on a sales call, right? And by being able to ask these questions and walk your drivers down the pipeline, you're going to draw their interest in. But if you guys have any questions on anything in this video, make sure you comment down below in the comments of this video. Also, if you want to check out my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, make sure you go to the description to join today. Thank everybody.